Welcome to Black Four Horsemen Podcast, episode 27. As you can see, I'm the lone horseman tonight. As our boy Ricky has said in the past episodes, life be like me. So I wanted to, it's been a while since we've been able to put out some content. So I didn't want to keep our small audience waiting any longer. I'm your boy Q, riding solo dolo tonight. We have a lot of good things have happened in the world of wrestling since our last podcast, and I wanted to get out there and at least put some content out there, give us an update on what's going on. We're going to talk about what's happened recently. Smackdown on last Friday, Monday Night Raw on yesterday. But since I am by myself, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to post on social media and see if we can get some more people in through the chat and see if they want to join me and kind of talk a little wrestling. So let me paste the link out here and post it, and let's see if we get some audience participation tonight. If not, either way, I am going to recap what has happened, like I said, in the world of wrestling from this past week. Give me a second here. Get this to work. All right, so the links are out, and so we're gonna open this chat up and let's see if we get anybody to join us. So I go back to Smackdown on last Friday, and I had to pull up the website so I can refresh my memory. Everything that's going on with wrestling now is leading up to WarGames, which is the pay-per-view / PLE in a month of November. It's part of the Survivor Series pay-per-view. WarGames is traditionally the rules have changed over the years. There's been 5 versus 5. There've been 4 versus 4. There's been some triple threat matches, 3 versus 3 versus 3, inside the dual cage, 2 rings. Anything goes. So, and that's what we're leading to. So on SmackDown, we have what's going on with the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and his group, along with the OG Bloodline. We have Roman back. We have Jimmy and Jay back, finally together. And we got the honorary Uso, Sami Zayn, finally back, seemingly on good terms, trying to take out Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, the Tongans, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa. And leading into SmackDown, there was always talk about who's going to be the 5th guy. Me personally, I don't know why you need a 5th guy. This is family business, and everybody that's been involved, even with Sammy, rather this honorary family, has been family members. But that's been the going take of who's your 5th guy? Who's your 5th guy? So this match is going to be 5 versus 5. What we found out on SmackDown, and I'm going to be jumping back and forth. There's not in particular order as far as what happened in this show. Is that we got Big Bronson Reed. Now it looks like it's going to be the 5th and final guy for Solo's team. Now, if you didn't know who Bronson Reed was and you just looked at him, he looks Samoan, and he may be Samoan. Maybe he has some Samoan heritage, but he looked like he fit with the group. Maybe he came in, wrecked shop, destroyed the OG Bloodlines, the Usos, Sami Zayn. He even gave the tsunami to Roman, and Roman was left helpless. And one key thing that happened after the melee is that Jey Uso mentioned to Roman, "You need to make that call." We don't know who the call is for. I mean, is it for the 5th guy? Who is Roman going to be calling? And we found out later that night that at least we think he tried to call Paul Heyman. Now, we have not seen Paul Heyman in months since he was since the new Bloodline took him out and they powerbombed him through the table. We have not seen Paul Heyman since. So, but what was I don't think anybody was expecting when he picked up his phone. Roman is now beat up. He's sitting in backstage holding his ribs. He pulls out his phone. If you go back and watch it, he just says, "Call." Everybody kind of paused for a second. Call the wise man in the crowd. Uh, they had to, so, and the sound that you heard after that was the do do do. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. And if you look at back, they had to play it twice because the crowd erupted so much when he said "call the wise man." They don't think people heard the phone message afterwards, so they had to play it again. So now you're thinking, okay, why is Paul Heyman's phone off? Why can we not get in contact with Paul Heyman? The internet took that and ran with it. There's been different theories out there I've seen where people say, well, you remember when Solo crushed Heyman's phone? Tell me he hadn't gotten a new phone since then. Get your number transferred over and get another phone. Some people are that's one theory out there. It could be the fact that maybe Paul feels some type of way. Therefore there was when the new bloodline was forming, Paul was still around and he was kind of left with them, and nobody, and mainly Roman Reigns, didn't call to check on him, didn't try to see, where's my help coming from, where have you been? So maybe he changed that number because, well, y'all didn't see after me when I was going through. So now, now you need me. Now you want to call me. That's one theory. Now, if you remember back last year around this time, as we leading into WrestleMania, there was a period where Paul Heyman had two phones. One said call Roman Reigns. One said call The Rock. So are both phones disconnected? Or did Roman only have the number to the Roman phone and not the Rock phone? Either way, Paul Heyman is in the win. We don't know what's going on with him. But even if you call Paul Heyman, he wouldn't be the fifth guy for the tag team. This is I guess technically a tornado tag team match. So you need a fifth guy. It wouldn't be Paul Heyman. There has been, again, talk on the internet that it could be Seth Rollins, even though Seth claims he would never tag with Roman ever again. Now, me personally, I'm like, first of all, Roman should have more beef with you, Seth, as opposed to Seth having beef with Roman, because you was the one that stabbed him in the back first. The whole Shield breakup years ago, that was Seth Rollins' fault. When they've had one-on-one matches, Seth has been the heel for the most part in those matches. Well, he's wrestled as the heel in those matches. I guess technically Roman's been the heel the whole time, but still, I don't see why Seth should be so upset with Roman. But that's where we are now. Me personally, I don't know. I don't think the reason why people are saying Seth is because Bronson Reed, who he's feuding with now, is on Team Solo. So that means that put two and two together, okay, Seth will be on the other team. I would love to be surprised by somebody no one's expecting. You got people out there. You saw the stir down with Braun Breaker and Jacob Fatu a few weeks ago. Chances of that happening are very slim, again, because of the history of Braun Breaker and Jey Uso. I've seen some rumblings of CM Punk. Now, we have not seen CM Punk since, I guess, what was it? It wasn't WrestleMania. It was after Bad Blood. So I think he's recovering from some injuries. So we've not seen him since then. So, but that could be a surprise no one expects. We thought, a lot of people were also slinging on Seth Rollins because of the pre-taped episodes of Raw that they've been doing because of the Thanksgiving holiday. And they saw this past Raw that we just saw on last night was taped. What we saw on the internet was just seeing Seth come out to fight Bronson Reed. We didn't see that. At least I don't remember seeing that live on TV. So I don't know if they cut some things out or changed things up. But it did. But after Raw went out the air, it did not look like to me that Seth was going to be the fifth guy. We still got I think a couple weeks before, because you have Smackdown this Friday and then Raw next Monday. And I believe the Saturday following that is Survivor Series, WarGames. So, Yeah, so I don't know that that's going to happen. We'll have to get that decision soon, and it probably will be Seth Rollins. But that's the most interesting thing that happened on SmackDown. You had, of course, other matches involved too. As I'm scrolling through here, I'm looking at. I just pulled up the tag match with the Street Profits and Motor City Machine Guns, and the fact that Ciampa interfered in the match. Johnny Gargano came out to try to stop him. He pushed Johnny Gargano. So, are we getting a Ciampa heel turn? I mean, it looks like it. We know the history with Ciampa and Johnny Gargano from the NXT days. I mean, probably one of the best one-on-one rivalries in NXT for the last 4 or 5 years. Are they going back to that? I don't know. I would love for Ciampa to turn too. And we just have a heel tag, DIY tag team. I think that'd be dope. Because we rarely see Johnny Gargano as a heel. But in that match, again, they interfered in the Street Profits and Motor City Machine Gun match. The Street Profits, there's always been talk about, are you going to break up the Street Profits? Because in my opinion, Montez Ford needs a single run. But they at least in this match, they came off with a little more attitude. So they could possibly make both him and Dawkins heels as a tag team. But I would, because everybody said once Montez Ford goes as a single wrestler, then what happens to Dawkins? I think people automatically assume once you break the tag team up, we've mentioned on this podcast, well, who's the Shawn Michaels and who's the Marginetti of that team. And a lot of people say that Dawkins would be the Marginetti of that team. It doesn't have to go that way. If you think back to early days of Diesel, Kevin Nash, he was Shawn Michaels' bodyguard. I mean, Shawn Michaels was average height. And you had this 7-foot guy that came to the ring with him, was like his protection, his bodyguard. You can do something very similar to that. Maybe change Dawkins' change his look a little bit, where he can look more vicious and more as like a villain, and he could be Tez's bodyguard, help him win matches, interfere in matches. But Montez Ford needs that single run, in my opinion. And then you can still find something to do with Dawkins if you want to do more than the bodyguard role. But we want to see that single run from him, from Montez. LA Knight defended his title in the open in a open challenge match. So I'm curious to see if we can get some. Remember the John Cena U.S. Open challenges? We got some NXT people come up to challenge him. We got some people from other shows to challenge him. So if they can open that United States title up for all challengers, it'd be interesting to see, because LA Knight, in my opinion, the gimmick is getting a little stale. So as champion, he can defend that title against multiple people every week. Treated like a TV, back in the day, the WCW television champion. I mean, he was the champion on TV. He defended that championship. If I'm not mistaken, pretty much every week, as long as you had a television show, it was a television taping, that TV title was on the line. You treat the U.S. title like that. Again, you get Cody Rhodes calling out Kevin Owens. That's going to. I think Kevin is supposed to show up this SmackDown this week, this Friday, because that match has not been scheduled. That may not happen at Survivor Series. It may, but that's another, I think, brutal match. That could, which with Owens as a heel, Cody as a babyface. They still hadn't explained why Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes to begin with. The whole parking lot video that we saw a few weeks ago. And maybe when Kevin shows up this Friday on SmackDown, they allow him to talk a little bit more. Maybe he can explain what's going on and what his motivation is when it comes to Cody Rhodes and even Randy Orton. He took out Randy Orton with a power driver. Now, real quick, that happened a couple weeks ago. I'm an old school wrestling fan. I remember when the power driver was illegal and you get disqualified for using it. I remember people when they attack people outside the ring, and if you really wanted to cripple somebody, you power drive them through a table or on the concrete. I realized that the traditional power driver had not been used in WWE for a while. I guess that was one of them unwritten rules that it was illegal and I guess banned to use in a match. I don't remember that because it's just something that slipped past me. But to see it on TV and now Kevin Owens did it great. He protected Randy Orton, but the fact that we saw that move and even the commentators kind of mentioned it, brought it up, how that move is not allowed anymore because of the risk of neck damage, back damage, things of that nature. So that was interesting. But to kind of sum up SmackDown again, the main thing was what happened with the bloodline and the OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline. The SmackDown ended with Roman trying to make that call upon Heyman and just dropping the phone in disbelief that he was not able to get a phone call through to the wise man. So the OG Bloodline are now scratching their heads, asking questions about what's possibly next. But we'll see because I don't know. We're leading to the WarGames, but I don't know if the feud continues after WarGames, regardless of who wins or loses. I guess if Solo's team wins, you got to run it back at some point so that the OG Bloodline can finally get on top. But I think even back when the new Bloodline won at, I guess it was Bad Blood, I figure, okay, you get Solo and his team to win now so that the OG Bloodline can win the Survivor Series. That's always been my theory. So we'll see if that comes true. But yeah, that was SmackDown. So again, we don't have a lot to cover, but since I'm only covering SmackDown and Raw, this would be the period of time where I would do a sponsor or an advertisement. I don't have a sponsor today to advertise. I know Sig and his insurance company. You can go back to the last podcast we dropped, episode 26, and even previous ones before that to see that information. Same with Creative Graphics. It does there's t-shirts and designs. Go back to previous episodes to see those links. But I'm gonna talk about myself here for a second. A little humble brag, if you will. It's me. I'm Solo Dolo Benite. So who gonna stop me? So for those that may not know, I am a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity. We just celebrated our Founders Day this past Sunday, November 17th. 113 years of service. I pledged, and I'm telling my age now, but I pledged in 1998 on the campus of the University of Memphis. I'm part of the Magnificent Xi Zeta chapter. But since then, I've been active in a graduate chapter here in my city. I'm currently reside in Memphis, Tennessee. That graduate chapter is known as Sigma Lambda Lambda, Memphis, Tennessee, 50. And every year, Founders Day, we recognize members for their work that we do in the community, for the work that we do for the frat. Again, humble brag, I do a lot for my local chapter here. A lot of things go on behind the scenes people may not see, but as my current boss list always says, I wear too many hats. I do too much, basically. I need to pass some of those duties off to somebody else. But this past Sunday, during our Founders Day, we had a Founders Day program where we recognized those brothers. And anybody out here that's in a fraternity or sorority may know these particular awards that I mentioned, but we have an award called Omega Man of the Year that we honor someone once a year. And this year, yours truly won Omega Man of the Year for Sigma Lambda Lambda. So humble brag for myself. I just happen to have the plaque here, so not that I'm planning on doing this, but I looked down and saw it, so here we go. And the font is probably backwards on the video, but as you can see, yeah. So that will be hung on the wall here pretty soon, but doing this sponsorship ad, I figured I'd just brag on myself for a second. Okay, commercial break over. Let's get back to wrestling. Okay, so now we move into Monday Night Raw, which happened on last night. We've mentioned this before. I'm still kind of getting used to Raw being 2 hours. Raw for the longest has been 3 hours long, and sometimes I'll sit there and watch it. It comes on, at least my time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I'm used to it ending at 10 p.m. Well, now, if I'm not paying attention and 9 p.m. roll around and I'm like, okay, where's wrestling? Oh, it's gone off already. So sometimes I have to sit down and actually, make sure that I'm paying attention, or those 2 hours kind of fly by. On the other side, I am able now to catch some of the Monday Night Football game because now with it ending at 9 p.m., I can still catch an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes of the game. Now, this past Monday night game was nothing to really want to watch, as you also know that I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. You can probably see the sign in the back. We suck this year. We do. I mean, I think there's a meme out there now with Dak Prescott even saying we effing suck. And people gonna talk about the Cowboys. It's something about the stars, something about the paraphernalia that the Cowboys fans wear. You always gonna get something. Someone's always gonna mention something. Always gonna talk about the Cowboys. So they love when we lose. They love when we're down, and we're in a down year right now. But I tell you, I am a loyal fan. I became a fan of the Dallas Cowboys when I was in high school. Again, telling my age, I graduated high school in 1995. Those 95, that mid 90s year from, I think 92 was the first, either 92 or 93 was the first Super Bowl. But within that time period, they won 3 Super Bowls within like a 4-year span. Now, as a high school student who was also playing high school football at the time, yeah, I jumped on the bandwagon. They were America's team. They were the team that we saw on TV every week. They were the team that winning. I would compare them to the Kansas City Chiefs of today. So you may have a high school student now that's playing football. Chances are he's a Chiefs fan. If he watches Patrick Mahomes, he watches the things they do, he becomes a fan. Now, the question is, was it 30 years? Well, I guess next year, 2025 would be 30 years out of high school for me. Ask that same person 30 years from now, are they still the Chiefs fan? And that's where loyalty comes in play. Yes, I've been a fan since high school, and I ride out my team. Win, lose, draw. Hey, you're gonna respect the star, and that's how I'm built. So you can talk about the Cowboys all you want. You can say all these different things, but I'm a Cowboys fan. But anyway, that Monday Night Football game sucked. So we're not gonna talk much about it anymore. So let's go back to wrestling, back to Raw. So Monday Night Raw kicked off with another WarGames match that will happen, but this time for the women. So I think it was Liv and Raquel came out first, and they had their team of who is this? Liv, Raquel, who's the other tag team? Oh, Nia Jax, our WWE Women's Champion, Nia Jax, winning in all of her beauty. She came out with Tiffany Stratton and Candice LeRae, who Candice LeRae has kind of jumped on the coat wagon of Nia Jax, and I actually like it. If you've listened to the podcast in the past, I want Nia to have almost like a queen's court, so people behind her watching her back, I guess doing her duties, making sure the queen is taken care of. It looks like Candice LeRae is taking that ball, and I like it too because it gives Candice LeRae something to do as well, so that she's not just left out there. Because as we saw her partner, I forgot her name that got released. Indy Hartwell got released from WWE, so now it gives Candice something to do too. Now that she doesn't have her normal running mate. So they all show up and they're talking, about WarGames and how the match is going to go. Then you hear Bianca Belair's music. Bianca comes out with her tag team partner with Jade Cargill, and Io Sky, who I like the fact that Io has kind of jumped in with them, and this is more of a respect thing. We know the history between Bianca and Io Sky, and even Bianca and the Damage Control as a collective group. There's no love lost there, but it's the common goal of we both don't like them, and them being Liv, Raquel, Nia Jax, and that whole team. So you have those 5 women in the ring. Bianca comes out with Jade Cargill and Io Sky, Then you get, who was the other one? It was, and I know whoever's watching this is probably screaming the name right now, but I'll find it. Let's see here. It'll come to me here in a second, I know. So Liv, Raquel. So I know those 5. I'm talking about the other. So you got Bianca, Jade. Oh, Naomi. Naomi is, the third of the group. You can actually say Bianca, Jade, and Naomi are a team, basically. They, when there's 3-on-3 women matches, they're usually part of it. So her, Io Sky, and as they walk to the ring, they get in the ring and they're confronting these other 5 ladies in the ring. The 5 ladies in the ring. And even Liv was like, well, the math is not mathing. It's 5 of us and 4 of you. And be honest with you, I had no idea who was coming out next. I completely forgot about Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley has been out with injury for the past, I guess, month or so, when you saw footage of Liv and Raquel, leaving a injured Rhea Ripley in the parking lot at NXT. Supposedly they broke her orbital bone. It's the bone in the eye. It took me a minute. I knew what I wanted to say, but I didn't know I pronounced it right. But the orbital bone around the eye. So Rhea comes out with a mask on, protective mask, cover everything. Mention WarGames, headbutts her in the chest. You ever notice when Rhea does the headbutt, she doesn't do it head to head. It's always like headbutt into like the neck or the chest area of the opponent, which I think looks pretty cool because then you get the whole head whip back from the person taking it. So it makes it look a lot more vicious than it is. So we got that. So we got that brawl to happen and that breakout. So it looks like the WarGames match on the women's side would be Liv, Raquel, look, I just said these names and I forgot them that quick. So that's why I'm getting old. Liv, Raquel, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae versus Bianca, Jade, Io Sky, Naomi, and Rhea Ripley. And yeah, I think those 5, that's gonna be a war. And these, it's funny because these matches are on paper are very dangerous. And you would imagine women wouldn't want the Survivor Series is November 30th, so it's next Saturday, not this Saturday coming up. But you would think the WarGames match is something you wouldn't want women to be involved in. I listened to an interview recently with Bianca Belair, and she said the WarGames match is like one of her favorite matches. She loves it because of the chaos and all the things you can do in the ring, all the weapons you can use, a lot going on. So the fact that the women like this match, I think that's why I think between the 2 WarGame matches, I think the women's match is going to steal the show, in my opinion. Let's see. So that's how Raw started out. You had some other matches throughout the night. You had Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable. So basically LWO versus, and actually I think there was a mixed tags. It was Rey Mysterio and Zelina Vega, I believe. I can't remember. I know there was a ring, so I can't believe it. I don't remember if it was a intergender match or not, like a mixed tag match. No, it was just 1-on-1. But I do remember Rey Mysterio and Chad Gable. And I guess the funniest thing or the weirdest thing happened was after the match, when I guess Chad Gable was upset that he lost, and the Creed brothers, of course, they came to the ring with him. He slapped, I think Julius is the tall one. He slapped Julius Creed, and Brutus, the other one, started laughing, and they started slapping each other and shoving each other. So it gave off real white boy meathead mentality. And you can take that how you want to take it, but that's kind of how I looked at it. So it looked a little crazy. So you had Sheamus versus Braun Breaker for the IC title. Now, I still believe at some point, Sheamus needs to win the Intercontinental Championship. That's the one title in WWE that he has not held. You can make him a Grand Slam champion. But even though he had the title, I didn't think he was gonna win last night, and he didn't. Now what's weird is I was not expecting Ludwig Kaiser to interfere in that. So maybe that's the way of saving Sheamus from taking a pinfall loss. Maybe they're setting something up, maybe a triple threat match between the three of them, because he attacked both Sheamus and Braun Breaker, so it wasn't just a one-sided thing. So we may be getting a triple threat match, or at least, or maybe they're trying to pull Ludwig away from Gunther, put him in a singles run, and see what happens. Speaking of Gunther, you had Gunther try to attack Damian Priest. So I thought this was going to be a one-off thing again, the rematch between Gunther and Damian Priest. But the fact that Gunther attacked him backstage, failed to attack him because he went to attack him, Damian Priest ended up getting the best of him. It was interesting when I think Damian Priest said something to the fact that you're good in the ring. You're a ring general. But this area back here, backstage, the street level, this is my domain. So, and the fact that he was able to come out on top back there, where that leads to, that's we shall see. I want to see, because I know they got, I can't remember if they've had a match already. I know he got challenged by him as far as Priest and Gunther. I can't remember. They haven't announced. I think they are looking at the only announced match right now for WarGames is that 5-on-5 women's match that we were just talking about. So if they do decide to run back Damian Priest and Gunther, they'll do it at Survivor Series, I believe. Let me go back here to Raw. So what else is covered? About it. So before the one last thing, and I didn't see the clip live, and I need to go back but I've seen clips of it. I didn't see the video live, but I've seen screenshots and small clips of it since then. But the Uncle Howdy promo with the whole video stuff, the Karrion Kross, I don't know if they did this on purpose. Yeah, I'm sure they did this on purpose. But he looks so much like Bray Wyatt in this video. I know this is his brother, but they distinguished it look different. And I don't know if it was the goatee or the beard that Bo Dallas grew out, or Uncle Howdy grew out to them. But in that video, there are certain still shots that you can see. He has the long, stringy hair with the new facial hair. He looks a lot like Bray Wyatt, which is kind of scary because Bray is no longer with us. But so you had the War Raiders now using their NXT tag team name. No more Viking Raiders, no more Viking Experience. I think that was the first name they had. Looks like they're getting pushed on the tag team level, so we may see them go after the World Tag Team titles here pretty soon. And you got, because now, because they beat Dominic Mysterio and Carlito, you had the rest of Judgment Day kind of jump them. And I see something's going on with Finn Balor too. I don't know if he's trying to distance himself from the group, or they may be trying to weed their way away from him. But his attitude and some of the things he's said the past few weeks kind of makes me look at him a little sideways. As far like, are you still with the cause when it comes to Judgment Day, or are you trying to do your own thing? So let's see. So I think the last thing that happened in Raw, the Bloodline story is continuing to bleed over to Raw, because now you have Bronson Reed as the fifth guy for Solo's team. Bronson is a Raw superstar. So we go into where you see, actually before that, you saw the OG Bloodline, Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, again try to convince Seth Rollins to join them as the fifth guy. He again turns them down. Talks about he'll never team with Roman. The whole spiel I was just talking about at the beginning of the podcast. So you get, but Seth did have a one-on-one match with Big Bronson Reed as the main event of the show. Go out, typical, great match between the two. The two of them do have great chemistry in the ring, I believe. When it comes to just, I envision it as almost like, because of Bronson's size, I think Seth feel like he can just throw anything at him. He can hit it with anything, do anything. He knows Big Bronson Reed is going to stand back up and dish the punishment back out to him. So, but anyway, they had that match. Solo and his team, kind of showed up to kind of be on Bronson Reed's side. Once they showed up, then that brings out the Usos and Sami Zayn. And again, they're outnumbered because, one, Roman is not there, and then two, you don't have your fifth guy. So the OG Bloodline, put down. So the new Bloodline Solos group puts down the OG Bloodline. They Big Bronson Reed gives Seth Rollins a couple more tsunamis to injure him, which again just motivates Seth to put away his pride and whatever's going on with what he feels about Roman and the Bloodline, and become this fifth member for the WarGames match. So I believe that's where it's headed. We'll see. But those are kind of the majors. Again, I just want to jump on here quickly to give some content. I know we have not posted anything in a while. Again, because just we're all married, we all have families, we all have jobs and lives that we things happen, and I try not to fuss a little bit too much. I'll try not to fuss at the guys when we can't record something. But I didn't want to go another week without putting anything out there. Anybody that does anything with YouTube or anything with this content created, it's all about consistency. And I've preached that to them, and I preach that to anybody that does this. So I wanted to put it out there. We're only at 37 minutes according to my clock, so it's going to be a very short episode. But I wanted to get out there and at least put a video out there for our YouTube subscribers, for people that are following us, people that follow us on social media. I should have had like some banners and stuff ready to post, but just search Black Four Horsemen on Twitter, Instagram. We're on. I need to create this Facebook page because it's kind of just waiting for me to click the button. So we'll be on Facebook. The audio version will be uploaded to Spotify as soon as my boy Ricky kind of gets back into the studio and can kind of help me out with that. This video is live, but we'll be posted under videos in YouTube probably the next day or two. I've learned that with YouTube, sometimes I can't immediately upload them to the video page. It has to stay under the live page, at least for 24 hours, I believe. So I appreciate anybody that joined, whether you join me live or you listen to this after the fact. Thank y'all for watching our videos. Subscribe if you haven't. If this rhythm and you're not sure why, go ahead, just give us a subscribe. I mean, it's free. It doesn't hurt you. And click on the notification bell to know when we go live. When we're back at, hopefully in the next couple weeks, we'll be back in full force, and it'll be the Four Horsemen all together riding together again. But right now, as I said, I just wanted to put something out there, because even though it's four of us, when there's just one, the other three are not too far behind. So that being said, y'all have a good night. As I did this a little later than we normally do on a Tuesday night, but again, want to get it out there. So again, till next time, my name is Quilly Cox with the Black Four Horsemen podcast, and we're out. Thank you.